Elon Musk has caused an earthquake by suggesting that at the next UK general election in 2029, the established parties, left and right, Labour and the Tories, will be, in his words, crushed at that next election. Now, what's he pointing to? Well, Elon Musk is pointing to the complete collapse of public support for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who of course has only been in the job since July. But if you look at the polls...
You heard that right. Elon Musk has declared that Keir Starmer's career as Prime Minister will come crashing down. And in today's video, we'll show you exactly why he's absolutely spot on. Before we dive in, make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any shocking updates from the UK political scene. Recent polling results have painted a grim picture for Keir Starmer, with his net approval rating plunging to -38, a truly embarrassing figure. He finds himself deep in negative territory, a domain usually reserved for deeply unpopular figures. This raises a crucial question. How could someone once seen as a beacon of hope fall so far out of favour? However, Starmer isn't alone in this downward spiral. The UK's political elite as a whole seems to be grappling with an unprecedented crisis of trust. Even Kemi Badenoch, a rising star and a potential leader of the Conservative Party, hasn't escaped the wave of criticism. Survey results show her net approval rating at a dismal -5, indicating that her detractors far outnumber her supporters. This reflects a broader trend. The British political system, along with its figureheads, is facing a severe trust deficit, a reality more alarming than ever before. The failure of traditional politicians has not only created opportunities, but has also acted as a springboard for disruptive figures like Nigel Farage and the Reform Party. These newcomers, armed with strong anti-establishment rhetoric, are steadily gaining traction. But this phenomenon isn't merely a byproduct of disillusionment. It signals a deeper shift in voter psychology. One key factor to highlight is the growing volatility in British politics. Over the past decade, voter loyalty has become increasingly fluid. Statistics reveal that 60% of voters have switched their party allegiance. This shift is not coincidental. It stems from mounting dissatisfaction with traditional parties. Whether it's Labour voters defecting to the Conservatives, Conservatives leaning towards the Reform Party, or Liberal Democrats moving to Labour or even Green, these changes reflect a clear trend. Old political loyalties are fading. This newfound voter flexibility could lead to unprecedented political upheavals. In just a few short years, the UK could move from the Conservatives' massive 2019 majority under Boris Johnson to a Labour landslide in 2024 under Starmer's leadership. Yet even such a scenario would be far from stable, as by 2029, another seismic political shift could very well take place. The core reason lies in voters becoming less tied to traditional notions like, "My family has always voted Labour." As this loyalty wanes, new, more flexible dynamics are beginning to reshape the political landscape. This erosion of trust is compounded by cultural concerns which have taken centre stage over the past 2 decades. People are no longer solely focused on economic issues such as inflation or the cost of living crisis. Instead, cultural anxieties, uncontrolled immigration, lax border policies and violent Islamist extremism are leaving many feeling alienated in their own society. The demand for cultural security has become increasingly urgent. Voters don't just want a stable economy. They want to live in a country with well-managed borders, lower immigration rates, and an emphasis on welcoming skilled migrants from culturally compatible backgrounds. They yearn for a nation where their history, identity and values are not just acknowledged, but actively preserved and passed on to future generations. The rise of these cultural concerns has provided a golden opportunity for insurgent parties like the Reform Party. Figures like Nigel Farage, with their clear and uncompromising stances, are effectively tapping into voter dissatisfaction. In this context, Keir Starmer and other traditional politicians face existential challenges. It's no longer just about losing public support. They risk being ousted by the very system they once dominated. A clear demonstration shows that controlling Britain's borders is an impossible task without radical changes to the current legal framework. Achieving this goal inevitably requires leaving the European Convention on Human Rights, along with a comprehensive reform or even outright abolition of the Human Rights Act. Simultaneously, decisive measures with strong deterrent effects and practical efficacy must be implemented. Half-hearted adjustments or maintaining the status quo will only perpetuate stagnation and fail to provide any real solutions. The current immigration policy, widely criticised as having exceeded the nation's tolerance limits, not only places undue strain on the economy, but also has severe negative social repercussions. A drastic reduction in net migration to the bare minimum, ideally no more than tens of thousands per year, is not just a necessity, but the only viable path to restoring order. Moreover, immigration flows must be tightly controlled and limited to truly essential areas, such as supporting the NHS or other critical industries that bring tangible value to the nation. Present realities demonstrate that immigration is no longer an economic driver, but has instead become an increasingly heavy burden. In particular, the influx of small-scale, low-wage migrant labour, predominantly from non-European countries, imposes significant financial costs on Britain. According to reports from the Office for Budget Responsibility, this group does not meaningfully contribute to per capita GDP, fails to boost productivity, and certainly does not generate the prosperity the nation seeks. On the contrary, unchecked increases in immigration have eroded the country's core values and long-term interests. Against this backdrop, there is growing space for the emergence of radical ideologies and new political movements. This not only reflects deep voter dissatisfaction with the traditional leadership class, but is also the inevitable result of a chaotic and directionless political landscape. Cultural issues, once downplayed in political debates, have now risen to prominence, often carrying equal or greater weight than the familiar economic concerns. History shows that changes in the United States often have a profound ripple effect on Britain, a nearly synchronous relationship encapsulated in the saying, "When America sneezes, Britain catches a cold." Currently, Donald Trump's hardline policies are reshaping the political landscape in the US, from deporting illegal immigrants to restructuring government to eliminate the so-called deep state he frequently criticises. When such policies become mainstream, they won't just alter America but will profoundly influence British politics. The scenario in the US suggests that policies such as deporting illegal immigrants, such as the roughly 150,000 people who have entered Britain illegally by sea, or removing foreign criminals serving sentences in Britain, will soon become central issues in UK politics. These decisive actions, rather than sparking controversy, are likely to set the standard of expectations that the public will demand from politicians. Such expectations will inevitably reshape immigration policies and border management in the future. It isn't just policy at stake. Traditional cultural values are being brought back to the forefront of political discussions. In the US, Trump has pledged to eradicate woke ideology from universities and public institutions, while targeting extreme views on gender, such as promoting the idea that boys can become girls and vice versa. These aren't merely political measures, but are part of a broader struggle to safeguard core values and cultural identity. As this model spreads to Britain, it will undoubtedly pose a significant challenge to the political elite, often accused of being out of touch with reality. The ripple effects of what is unfolding in the US will quickly spread across Europe, particularly in Britain, where voters increasingly ask, if America can adopt bold policies and build a counterculture to a failing elite, why can't Britain do the same? This doesn't just signal a policy shift, but serves as a warning of a profound rethinking of the nation's mindset and direction.